Well, I just wanted to start by saying that when your book came out, I immediately bought it, partly because you're a great writer and I've read other works by you, and I wanted to support you. I suspect many people felt that way. Alex, it's clearly based on Salman's book. Can you talk about your approach to it? It's very much through Salman's perspective.
Well, yeah, I mean, and also, there at the heart of it is this incredible footage that was shot by Eliza when Eliza and Salman were in the hospital, and that sort of forms the core narrative line of the book. That's the simple story, but it seemed to me, much as in Salman's book Knife, that there's an opportunity then for a kind of free association, as if, in Salman's mind, he's thinking about this, that, or the other thing, and a way of doing a portrait in a rather unconventional way, thinking through moments in the present and the past, leading to a moment of recovery on the stage where the attack took place.
I can only imagine there were parts of the film that you probably didn't want to look at.
Well, for a long time, Eliza wouldn't let me look at the footage because she thought it would upset me too much. And it was only when I was well on the way to recovery that she said, okay, maybe it's time for you to see what we shot. And actually, it was shocking because I looked much worse than I had imagined. Because when you're in hospital, people come up to you all the time and say, you're looking much better today. And it's a complete lie, but you believe it at the time.
A comforting lie, and we can understand why they say that. Eliza, we see in the film, just extraordinary footage of Salman's very, very severely injured eye, and your thoughts about showing that to the viewers. We see the nature of how brutal, how horrible this attack was.
Yes, the footage shows that physical sense of what was happening and how he looked. And I think, the footage allowed us to, and others to witness what the violence had done to him, but it also allowed us to witness each other and kind of be together in a space. And also, one of the things I love that Alex says is that there's also, the footage is also capturing a love story. And that feels really important to, in the actual footage, as traumatizing as it is, one of the lenses that is there is a lens of love and care and hope for survival.
Yeah, and Alex, maybe you could speak to that, because it certainly was one of my almost notes to myself in watching it, that this is a love story, and a love story one can define in different ways. It's a love story between two people, but we're talking about love as perhaps the only sort of countervailing human impulse to the horrible violence and aggression.
That's right. It took off from the idea in Salman's book that, the journey is moving from an act of hate to a place of love. And that was really, really important to be able to underscore that throughout the film.
And Salman, we see your rehabilitation. I know that people want to know how you are doing now.
Well, I'm surprisingly well. A lot of the doctors, I had to go through a whole post-op period of inspection. And while the doctors were signing off on me, many of them said that I was much better than I should have been, as if I was doing something wrong. But actually, yeah, so I'm much better than I should have been.
Yeah. One of the extraordinary quotes, both in the book and in the film, early on, Salman questions himself. He says, why didn't I fight? Why didn't I run? Was I so fatalistic that I was prepared simply to surrender to my murderer? You've seen that footage? He didn't. He did fight back. There's so many elements of bravery to this story, but he didn't give himself full credit for his response to this attack out of the blue. That must be deeply moving to you.
It's been deeply moving and remains, deeply moving to me to watch Salman, survive, and not just survive, but just really continue forward with courage to write Knife so quickly after the attack, to write a collection of short stories. He's a badass. So, he inspires me by not turning away, by keep going, and that's something as human beings, like keep going. We have to keep going no matter what happens. And so, each day I'm really moved to look over and see him sitting there cracking jokes. He's himself. And I think for me, that was one of the great gifts that we were able to take out of this experience, that Salman is even more himself.
Yeah, and Alex, I mean, there are many instances of humor. That's pretty astounding.
Right to the very end. I don't know if you watched at the very end. There's a nice moment at the end of the credits where Salman's being served a cake, and he looks around and said, "Anybody got a knife?" So, look, one of the great things about Salman as a person is he's very funny, but also his writing is suffused with humor. People, I think, unless you read, as everyone should, his work, it's full of humor. It's part of the human condition. And I think that was one of the things that we wanted to emphasize in the making of the film and as part of the recovery.
We're living in a time in the United States of violence, of intolerance, of misinformation and falsehoods that we've just seen yesterday coming from the administration. You know this because of the falsehoods that were said about you and the satanic verses, that your book was completely misrepresented.
Yes. Well, I think the film has something to say to the present moment, because it is a portrait of mindless violence. The attacker, by his own admission, had never read anything I wrote, and yet was prepared to commit an act of radical violence, murder being that act. So I think as we are living in a time of what you might say is mindless violence, I think the film has something to say to that.
Alex, what can you tell us about distribution plans for the film?
We'll find. We'll find out. I mean, honestly, we purposefully independently financed the film, and now we're coming here to Sundance to sell it. So anybody who's watching, take note.
Yeah, buy this film.
Buy this film right now.
Buy this. You can put signs around your neck. Buy my film. And I hope I'm not, again, going too far afield, but I certainly thought about you in the context of what we're seeing in Iran. According, I think, to official numbers, the regime has killed more than 5,000 protesters. Very well the intolerance of that regime.
Well, Iran has been a brutal regime ever since the Ayatollahs took power, and it continues to be. And yet the people have the courage to resist it, and good luck to them.
And speaking of courage, again, Eliza mentioned this, but it's just astounding to see that you rally your forces. You had to do it after the publication of the Satanic Verses and being 10 years in police protection. And now from this, where do you find that strength to say, no, I'm just not going to let these people win?
I don't know where I find the strength. Unfortunately, I managed to do so. I think, truthfully, if you had said to me all those years ago that this is what your life is going to include, all these terrible events, how do you think you'll survive that? I would not have been optimistic about my chances. But it turns out that I'm tougher than I thought.
Indeed so. Well, thank you so much for being with us. We wish you a fantastic premiere today. It's going to be amazing.
Thank you. Right.